Hi everybody, fantastic morning to you all. Hope all is going well. Weather extra time. I feel like I'm very bright today, very bright. Speaking of bright, it's bright in the shoals right now too, and that's a problem if you don't like heat because it's warming temperatures up really fast. It's already up to 90 degrees already. And yeah, temperatures soaring this morning with so much sunshine. Where are we at everywhere else? Looks like 80s. So 88 in Scottsboro, 88 in Athens, 88 in Decatur. So heat advisory for today. For most counties in the Tennessee Valley, it does not include areas east, but we're all hot, we're all humid. This is like the same forecast like it's been for the entire month. Heat things up in the morning, burn some fog off, then heat things up, have a very humid day, and then pop some storms in the afternoon. Over the weekend, some areas had tremendous rainfall, and then there was other areas that really didn't have much. And that's probably how it will play out again today, where some areas get throttled with some heavy rainfall, and other locations will probably not even get a drop. So location when it comes to the storms. But the one thing the storms will do, if you get one, it will cool your temperature down briefly, and then after the rain moves out, it will feel literally disgusting outside, or like a sauna. But the best scenario you can have is be really close to one of those thunderstorms, not have the rain, but get the outflow boundaries from the winds, and that set up an actually beautiful breeze yesterday at my house. I had storms come right up to my house and then die down, and the breeze felt amazing. So it can work out both ways. There's your dew point temperatures. We talk about the air you can wear. A lot of you like to look at the relative humidity. I think that comes on most of the default apps. But what you want to do, instead of looking at your relative humidity, you want to look at the dew point temperature. It is the best way to gauge how humid the air mass is. If it's over 70, we call that oppressive. If it's over 75, it's just really gross. Anything at 80 or higher is really bad, and that's how we gauge how humid it is outside. So when you have a temperature that's 90 degrees, like in the shoals right now, and it's a 76 dew point, that feels like temperature's up to 102 already. And it's not even 10:30, not even 11 o'clock this morning. So that's the kind of heat that we have today and for tomorrow. Very, very sticky stuff. And anytime you spark a shower or thunderstorm with that kind of humidity and your dew point's that high, they turn out to be a big rainmaker. We had some areas pick up 3-4 inches of rain on Saturday. We had some heavy rainfall on Sunday for parts of northwest Alabama. And any time that you spark a shower or storm, it's like an instant downpour. And that's what happens. And if you get one particular location that has multiple downpours in like a 1 hour span, can produce some heavy rainfall that could cause flash flooding. Also, too, the National Weather Service addressed this in their chat room today, is that there are some areas, especially in Jackson County, that have had so much rainfall the past 2 days that the ground is very saturated, and there's been so much rainfall that any kind of 30, 35 mile an hour wind gusts with some of these storms we have this afternoon could topple over some trees, uproot them, or maybe even some limbs could fall. So something to be mindful of this afternoon, especially for locations that have had a tremendous amount of rain. So right now, no rain. 11 a.m. looks good. In fact, let me pull this up so you can see it better, okay? Whoops, hang on a second, everybody. There you go. Should see it now. Going to the afternoon, start to fire up some storms between about 12 and 1 o'clock. Some of those storms will be heavy at times in terms of rainfall. A lot of lightning with these storms, and your wind gusts up to about 40, 45. Remember, we just talked about the ground is saturated for parts of the area. Could cause a little bit more in the way of some tree damage across the board. Hi, Brenda. Good to see you on. She says good morning. She says God bless everyone today. Fantastic to see you on. I'm going to fast forward this to about 5, 6 o'clock. See how the storms back off? If you've been watching the weather over the weekend, by the time we got to the evening hours, most of the storms and activity would back off really fast, right? The one thing that will be different about tonight's forecast is, why didn't I forward this? Watch what happens after 9 o'clock. There's still a few showers and storms that want to clip areas east and northeast. I'm going to keep those in the forecast overnight, especially if you live in Jackson County or maybe Franklin County in Tennessee. There could be some storms, maybe even all the way down to DeKalb County. But I do think there's still a slight chance of storms even overnight tonight for areas in eastern zones. And then we do it all over again tomorrow with more storms firing up in the morning. They will move northeast to southwest throughout the day is where the boundary will be. And those two for Tuesday will be heavy rainmakers. Notice when you stop it here at 3 p.m., look at the temperature difference. So this particular forecast model says Florence isn't going to have a storm before 3 o'clock, and it's 95 degrees. But look at the Decatur temperature at 79, where we just saw thunderstorms race through the area around the noontime hour. And that's what happens when you have these thunderstorms. So a lot of people will ask me, what's the heat index today? I said, well, instead of worrying about the heat index, worry about if you get a storm or not. Because if you get a storm, you won't be as hot. So we go through the evening on Tuesday, storms will back off. Here's your 10-day forecast. A little bit less of a chance of rain for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but it will be really hot. It'll be very humid. And then a more substantial chance of rain comes in Friday night into the weekend, and that rainfall could be heavy at times. Looks like early call for next week is to dry things out and have a little bit more in the way of a quieter pattern in terms of rainfall, but certainly some heat. I feel like that every single day since like early May, I've had to track some kind of rainfall on the radar. And maybe your town has not had much rain, you feel like you've been left out, but from our standpoint, well, for me, when I've worked, every day I work, I feel like I'm covering some kind of storm or some kind of downpour or some kind of rainfall. It's crazy. It's been wild. It's 2.5 months now. And I had somebody ask me this morning, she said, I feel like this is the rainiest summer on record. I said, well, I can't figure out summer yet because the summer months are technically June, July, and August. So what I did was I went to this webpage where it keeps track of the rainfall for the 3 major airports. So Northwest Alabama, Pryor Field, and then also Huntsville International. And what I did was I did a May 1st to July 19th, which was actually on Saturday. I could have added Sunday to it. I didn't even do that. And it came out to be in the Shoals and Decatur, they're both top 3 wettest time frames from that since records have been kept. And Huntsville was like 12. So it has been pretty wet. And that's not even counting localized heavier amounts that may not be at the airports. So from early May to like mid-July, most areas have had a lot of rainfall. I know there's some people who feel like they haven't had enough, and that's okay. But it's been pretty rainy for sure. Okay. Not to rain on everybody's parade, but yes, it's been very rainy. Good news, if you watched last night, Jada made her appearance. Jada Russell, she's fantastic. And you know what? She's not done yet. She's going to work again this morning. She didn't leave us. She worked last night. She liked it so much she came back today. She's going to be on for TVL with Peyton, and then she's going to run it back again at noon, and she's going to be on with Gina, and they'll have all your news and weather updates for you. TVL and the new newscast coming up, and Jada will be on for both of those, which is fantastic. And this way, when I get done with Weather Extra, I'll get to hang out and watch her and just kind of chill out while she does her thing on TV. She's fantastic. She's got a great smile. She's very knowledgeable, and she is excited to be part of the team here. And we are very excited to have her here because she's a pretty awesome person. So, again, if you didn't see her last night, you get a chance to see her again today at TVL and noon. I think she was on TVL on Friday, I do believe, so she could get to meet her and see her. And she knocked it out of the park even on Friday before she was even doing the weather at that point. So it's good stuff. Hi, Tamara, good to see you. You have a fantastic day. And Mike Gentle, good to see you too, my friend. You have a good day. Hot stuff. Bill Beck, he's not going to be on during the mornings on a weekday, but he's on during the weekends. He asked me a great question yesterday. He said, Jeff, I'm hearing these rumors we got record high temperatures coming our way, And I said, well, I don't know where those are coming from. So just to give you a basic idea, where you see those temperatures in the low to mid 90s this week, that's about where we should be for this time of year. It's not unheard of. We have to have a daily high temperature record, not the feels like temperature, but the actual air temperature has to get up to like 105 or 106 or something like that for many of those days on that 10-day. So I don't think we got record heat. So if you hear something like that, I don't think that's really going to happen. Another thing that may happen too, we got to keep an eye out, is that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday time frame. There could be some kind of low pressure develops to the coast again, and if we manage more rain on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday than sunshine each day, there's no way we're hitting 93, 92, 93. Because if we have more clouds and more rain, much like this weekend, it kept the temperatures down. It was still wicked humid, don't get me wrong. But like on Saturday, nobody hit 90 on Saturday. It was like a day off from the heat. Most areas were in the 80s. In fact, most of the morning hours when it was raining in South Huntsville, I mean, the airport was like sitting at like 78 all morning long. It wasn't even hot. It was just really humid. That could be the same thing that happens Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you see a lot of 90s on that 10-day, but a grain of salt with that, because if we end up popping some storms Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they happen in the morning and the afternoon, that's going to cool the air back, and nobody's hitting 90 if you do that. It's still going to be really humid, but you're not going to hit 90. Keeps the temperatures down. So, hi, Kaylee. Good to see you on. And Tegan's on, too. You're both fantastic. It's good to see you on. I hope you all have a fantastic Monday. Your Monday, my Thursday. Can't wait. End of the week is coming for me tomorrow. What's also coming is TVL. That starts at 11, and I have got to check out a little early today because I have to switch computer systems with Jada so she can get herself ready to be on air, and I don't want to get in the way. I'm going to be in the back watching. Just got to chill it out, and the last thing I want to do is get in her way. So I'm going to wrap up the Weather Extra a little early. I usually try to take it to 10:50, but I'm going to wrap it up at 10:45. If you have any questions, you can always comment on this, even if you watch it back later. I try to rewatch it, or I try to read the comments back later. Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis will be in tonight. He'll have the very latest on the forecast as well. And Eric Burke will be back tomorrow morning. I'll be BB Traffic, and we got you covered, and we'll keep the updates coming on not only the storms, but the heat. And a very summer-like pattern. Looks like it will just keep on right on trucking through the end of July into early August. And we haven't missed a beat on the summer-like pattern. I mean, I feel like every day has certainly fulfilled its summer-like promise in the month of July so far. I think there was like one day where we cut the dew points back into the like low 60s, and that was like for one day. Every other day has been very sultry and very, very humid. And some days have been downright really gross with the hot temperature and the humidity, where I feel like temperatures have been as high as 110. So pretty gross for sure. Hi, Debbie Taylor. Good to see you on. Thank you for stopping by. You all have a fantastic day, and we'll talk again soon.